Hello, and welcome to Movies We Dig, a podcast about film, antiquity, and everything in between. I'm Elijah Fleming.
I'm Christie Vogler.
And I'm Colin McCormick. Every time Eli introduces, we don't know what.
I know, we sit there and stare at each other like, oh shit.
Because Christy and I, our thing is we go last when the other one is doing it. Like Eli's always in the middle, but we don't have a plan.
Well established.
Yeah.
Elijah always goes second, except when she does it.
Yeah, and it's it's a simple formula, right? Like if you're not going first, you're going last.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the rare gems, when Eli introduces us, Christy and I lock eyes and we panic.
Should sort this out between yourselves.
Yeah.
We just don't remember what the solution was.
Yeah, like pause, go, and then we go at the same time, and then we're like,
never gets old. All right, well, today, you guys, we are continuing our short series of host favorite films with Christie's pick, She's the Man, a 2006 American romantic comedy teen sports film that has a lot of
it really does
things.
Have a lot of descriptors.
Did Shakespeare make it into that?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, he's
okay.
It was directed by Andy Fickman and starring Amanda Bynes, Channing Tatum, Laura Ramsey, Vinnie Jones, and David Cross. It was inspired by Shakespeare's play The Twelfth Night, which has a lot of cross-dressing, which is amazing.
Actually, well, only one person cross-dressed.
I know, but it's like the whole play, right? Most of the play.
Yeah, it is a good chunk. We'll get into it. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Shakespeare plays have people dressing up as other stuff.
Yeah.
Classic trope. Yeah.
Yeah. The man loves that. He loves dress up.
Yeah. Well, and this one's this play is kind of unique. Okay. So we are going to end up talking a lot about both because
it's true.
This is an adaptation of Twelfth Night, but do you guys know what actually, especially the sports aspect is important to this? What actually inspired this movie?
No.
Mia Hamm.
No, Disney's Motocrossed.
What?
All right. I need more. I need more.
Okay,
to go
tell
on
me more.
That. Okay, did you guys ever watch the Disney movies that they would make before High School Musical happened? And
yes.
Okay, so when they used to do those, there's one called Motocrossed where it's a family who does biking and they're like motorsports, right? And their son has all of the sponsorships. He has a twin sister named Andrea, and his name's Andrew. And he gets into an accident while racing against his sister and breaks his arm. And now they have to do this huge competition to get the sponsorship.
So they forfeit the competition and he doesn't go.
To keep the family business going. So Andrea cuts her hair, gets in this competition, makes friends with a guy to help make her an even better motocross competitor. And I think she's hiding it from almost everyone. I think her mom's in on it eventually. So it's a whole family endeavor. And she ends up winning the race, hiding her identity as a woman until the very end. Because again, there's some reason she's not allowed to compete as a woman in motocross on a motorcycle.
Well, as we also, of course, know, the vibrations of the motorized vehicle cause tremulations in the vapors of the female.
Yeah. So and then
I'm trying to do my best 18th century doctor well, of course, the ghostly vapors from the emanations of the spirit.
And there is a guy interest, and he gets super upset when he finds out, oh, it's actually a woman. How dare I and it's still this idea of it's a friendship portrayed, but then becomes romantic in the end, which is a lot of what Amanda Bynes' character and Channing Tatum's character do in this film. So that is actually more of a direct inspiration for this movie because the play itself doesn't have the character Violet. She dresses up a man. She doesn't dress up as her brother. She dresses up as a man and names herself Cesario because she and her brother have been shipwrecked. She thinks her brother is dead. She has no family. And she kind of realizes her best chance of now surviving in this environment is dressing up like a man and going to work for Duke Orsino.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good plan.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly. It's like, it is not about romance at all initially. It is literally about survival, or like, these 2 movies are about, okay, we're getting already well into it.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
can
say,
tell you
I'm not
exactly.
gonna like. Well, how does Mulan like factor into all of this as well?
Mulan was also like, so like part of, okay, I'm
Yeah,
backtracking
put
a
a pin.
little bit.
Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christy, do you
Yeah.
dig this movie?
Do you want my history of it too?
I
Like, it
do. I really
okay.
do.
Okay. It's a two-parter history. So not only did I see She's the Man like a ton of times when it came out when I was in high school at this point. Twelfth Night is also the first Shakespeare play I ever read. The reason being because my parents had some of their college textbooks that they had saved on this one bookshelf from the 70s. And one day I'm just like, I don't know, I'll read something from here. And I'm like, oh, Shakespeare. I hear that dude's name all the time. I will read that. I read Twelfth Night. I'm probably in middle school. I have no idea what anyone's talking about.
Mhm.
Except like what is coming through again is Viola's story of, hey, I'm shipwrecked and need to survive, so I'm gonna dress up like a man and just get shit done. And like a lot of other stuff happens, and there's some romance and stuff. So yeah, I was getting major Mulan vibes from it. And I'm like, okay, I like this theme. I kind of get it. The only other thing I remember is that speech about greatness, which is so out of place in this
I
movie.
know.
And when you know where it comes from in the play, it's like an even funnier, like the speech is funny in the play. It's supposed to be inspirational in the movie, and it's very out of play.
I mean, yeah. Um,
um, so all of that to be said, at the like I have huge nostalgia for this movie. I was an avid soccer player in high school. Like I said, my whole family was involved. My brother and I played year round, both at high school, club, like my team won state when I was a sophomore. And like so the soccer aspect was really important to me. And the other thing was this was my introduction to Channing Tatum. And I knew of Amanda Bynes, like I like her in this movie. I actually really enjoy her in this movie. I never liked any of the shows that she did for Dan Schneider. Like in hindsight, all of the Dan Schneider
well,
ickiness and, like,
yeah, no,
weird kind of jokes that were written for adult males in an appropriate way, like, they
Yeah.
never jived with me, so I never liked the shows she was on in Nickelodeon, so when this movie came out, I'm like, "Okay, I like this. This is funny to me." And, I also had a soccer friend obsessed with dance as well, so I do remember seeing Step Up in theaters, which came out the same year,
Mhm.
right after this, so, like, that is when my crush for Channing Tatum was, like, wholly solidified. It was these
I
2
want to.
films, like,
I,
I've
I want
loved
to
him for
come
a long
back
time.
to this, and I want to talk about eras of Channing Tatum, but
Yeah.
that should be at the
Yes,
end of
yes.
at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I've been hooked on this man for decades now, practically, and, we'll get into it later. The plot summaries that you see for the film reviews for this movie annoy me so much because to me, my biggest takeaway, like Mulan, like the original Twelfth Night, is like, here is a girl who is going to unorthodox means of achieving a goal to just be acknowledged as an equal.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And good God, if that still doesn't speak to me
And,
today.
and finds an unlikely ally in Vinnie Jones, the coach.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
I
Like,
think the whole movie
yeah,
really should have been about him.
I know.
yeah, yeah. Like it always cracks me up that he's just there. He's
He's
just
just
doing
there.
things.
Yep.
He's with it, right? He's a
Yeah.
uh,
So part of me feels like it hasn't aged well in certain aspects, but part of me is still like, it's like, it was still a really good message for, like, me as a teenager that, like, I'm kinda glad I had at the time, and it still resonates to me on that level, so I will leave it there. Again, I'm gonna complicate this love in our analysis, I'm sure, but, like, nostalgia-wise, love it. Thinking more critically of it, it's like I have some misgivings, but I still enjoy watching it when I have to.
Yeah. Nice. Colin, what about you? I am so curious about your
yeah.
history and take on this
So
movie.
this was my first proper viewing. I've known about this film like just being a person who was alive in the year 2006. It's definitely a movie that is like was like on in the background, but a sort of a big bridge for me now that I'm watching this 2006 Amanda Bynes vehicle as a mid-30s adult man is like I growing up never had Nickelodeon or like Disney for that matter. And so like Amanda Bynes and like Drake and Josh and all that and like the Amanda Bynes, like that whole thing was like I was aware of it dimly, but it like just passed me by.
Yeah.
I think maybe the first thing I really saw Amanda Bynes in was an Easy A, where that was already on the sort of tail end of her, like her whole comedy sort of like ascension when she was on kind of passed me by. And so now I'm watching this Amanda Bynes and I have so many questions just about like her as a comedy figure. Incidentally, I was recently made aware of the phrase millennial cringe. And I'm like, is this the like is this it? Like, this is the origin?
Because cringe, yeah.
Because one of the things I was watching kind of pointed to Jim Carrey as being like a lot of millennial cringe are like bad impersonations of Jim Carrey or like trying to do what Jim Carrey's doing, which I kind of see happening a little bit with Amanda Bynes of like her whole thing is like, you know, these faces and you're going like, why? Like, and just kind of like doing the voices. I want to talk about her voice, the voices she does.
Yeah.
The whole Sebastian persona. So back to the initial question, do I dig it? Oh, not really. No, I have no nostalgia from it, and as a movie, it's strange. It wasn't a joyless viewing. There were parts I laughed out loud. Although I made a note that there was at a certain point, like I was like, oh, this movie's actually. It was about an hour in, and then it's the scene where they're in the weight room, and Olivia starts kind of. Yeah, and Olivia starts kind of putting the moves on Duke to make Sebastian jealous. And I was like, oh, this movie's actually starting to kind of cook a little bit. Like, this is kind of fun. And then I was like, wait, this is the Shakespeare part of the story. Like, this is like when the movie is being the most Shakespearean is when it's kind of like, you know, and then when it's like weird dating and like gender dynamics in the pizza, like what I want to talk about Cesario's Pizzeria, and whatever the hell is going on.
You know what? Ironically, that scene that you're talking about, not in the play at all. Nothing like completely different dynamics between Duke Orsino, Olivia, and
interesting because to me that was like this feels like a Shakespeare scene of like the kind of multiple layer, you know, the dramatic irony, the multiple layers of misunderstanding, all that business. And that was when the movie kind of like got a little bit of, this movie did not need to be an hour and 45 minutes long.
No, certainly not.
This thing could have been a tight 90 minutes easily.
Yeah. Get rid of the weird dream sequence when she's in the puffy dress.
The first hour you could honestly.
That's fair.
I think the first hour should really be 45 minutes or less. But
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, but then again, like when it comes to like comedies of mistaken identity, like there's only so much, like that timing of those kinds of things are really hard of like, you know, you let it go on too long and it starts to buckle under its own weight. So anyways, I do not dig it, but I am at the same time fascinated and perplexed by this movie, and I have lots of questions.
That's fair. My one other quick follow-up, because I've been sitting on this, it's like, how did you dig all of the needle drops of the early 2000s musics, including 2 songs of the All-American Reject?
Yeah, that I just was like, this is like, man, I feel like I'm in a Hot Topic. Like, exactly. Just brought me right back.
Back to skinny jeans.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Like, like there's just like and like a fight breaking. Like there's something so peak mid 2000s, or really like this movie feels more. This is strange to put. Like this movie feels more 2003 than 2006, but that's neither here nor there. But yes. Eli, that leaves you, right?
Yes. I also was a teenage girl in 2006, and I did see this movie in theaters. I never played soccer, but I did play rugby. And I was also very much in a position of like having to prove that our team was like worth it, or that we could have space to practice, or we would just, you know, join the boys practice. So I like ran suicides, with the boys rugby team, and it was all club teams because we didn't have them in high school. But I did that for 4 years, and we did sevens in the summer, and I did 15s in the fall, and it was very much that kind of cultural, I don't know, zeitgeisty feeling of needing to prove ourselves as female athletes.
When was the Nike ad campaign, the anything you can do, I can do better? Do you remember
that was
this?
only a couple years ago, right?
That
No,
was, I want to say it was like,
okay.
I was in middle school, I think.
Oh, okay. There
It
was a
was-
really good one, I think, with the.
I would not be surprised if
There was
they
a
were
really
like-
good one for the Super Bowl recently.
Yeah.
That was like, oh,
Yeah,
all of
no, but
those
I
female athletes.
have a very there's a Michael Jordan Mia Hamm like Gatorade
Yes.
commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is so much the like zeitgeisty spirit of
Yes.
like
Yep.
the late 90s and early 2000s
Very
of like,
much.
women's sport, because like with like the US Soccer Women's World Cup,
Yeah.
that where they
And
kind
I
of
came
catapult.
to this movie from Bend It Like Beckham, which
Yep.
I
Mhm.
also
Same.
love, and
Same.
is also very like sports focused and very much proving yourself as a female athlete. So I really liked that part of this movie, and I thought it was really fun, and I do still have a lot of nostalgia for that. And I very much echo you guys with this kind of like, ooh, this didn't all like age in the proper
Yeah.
it didn't feel the
Well-
same watching it again, but I will say I do appreciate the tiny little nuances that they did get in there, in especially like Duke and Viola's eventual relationship, when they are just like friends first and just talking, and he thinks that she's a guy, and that's why they can actually talk like normal human beings instead of just like girl glasses or
Oh
something.
yeah. And the whole like latent like gay panic of all of this is
Not great. Not great.
Which is, again, so that's kind of, I think one of the things I was really sad to see and sad to realize about this movie is how much they sanitized it by making it very heteronormative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that, like, so there's characters in the play. So Olivia falling for Viola as her. So Viola is not masquerading in the play, is not masquerading as her brother Sebastian. She is actually masquerading as a eunuch named Cesario. And if you know what Cesario means, to cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So there, and that's the name of the pizzeria place. So they kind of they do some weird things with the names. And there's also like the podcast I listen to, Shakespeare Anyone, did a really interesting thing of looking at her character as the cross-dressing character, because she's unlike a lot of other female cross-dressing characters that Shakespeare has in his plays, where like some of those women is like, I want to be dressing like a man because I like doing what men do.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And you could argue you could possibly read more of a trans reading into that. You can't really reasonably do that with Viola's character in the play,
No.
because she actually is very torn of like, she is falling, like she has a very intimate relationship with Duke Orsino,
Mm-hmm.
or with the Duke, and it keeps sending her to go flirt with Olivia on his behalf.
Mhm.
And like she has a connection there. She likes talking to Olivia, and Olivia's like, I really like this androgynous looking young boy, and I really wish the Duke would stop harassing me. And so like that part is probably the closest thing to that's real in the play. But the Duke admits having a very close relationship with Cesario in the time like they're together. And what's even funnier is Sebastian does show up in the play, her brother, and he is saved by a swashbuckling pirate named Antonio, who is
yeah.
always played as queer in the
Mhm.
like he reads as queer, and like is always like up front saying how much he loves Sebastian. He will do anything for Sebastian. He like helps. And
I love this.
one of the mix-ups that happens is like one of Olivia's suitors attacks Viola as Cesario. And Antonio shows up being like, "Oh my god, you're gonna hurt my boy. No, you're not." And he draws
Mhm.
swords and Viola's like,
Hell yeah, he
"Dude,
does.
dude, thanks for helping me. Who are you?"
Yeah.
And like Antonio is so heartbroken. It's like because he gets arrested. They realize like, "Oh, you're a
Yeah.
wanted man for pirating." And he gets arrested and he's like, "Can you give me some money back to like bail me out?" I'm like, "I don't know who you are." And Antonio thinks it's like Sebastian trying to like distance himself so he doesn't get in trouble.
Oh
So
no.
like
Ugh.
guess what? The names are important. Which character in the movie actually is
Well,
connected to Antonio? Paul.
Paul Antonio, which is going to
Paul.
say, speaking of like dating this movie or things
Yep.
like, I
Yep.
mean, well, I have so many questions about Paul, which is like, okay, what's this guy's deal? Is he a high schooler who works at a hair salon,
Right?
or is he an adult man hairstylist who is just friends with a bunch of high school girls?
Red flags. So many red flags. I don't
Who
like it.
who again is like just like Antonio in the play is supposed to like you can have very strong male relationships, right? And they could have a sexual element, but not necessarily.
Mhm.
But today we would read that as queer. And so if we look at Paul, besides, yeah, he's probably too old to be hanging out with high school girls, but it's so weird because he provides the training
Yeah.
to Viola's character to be a dude, but nothing about him screams like
Mhm.
he also would personify that as a jock dude as opposed to like who he is as a person. And it's I thought I for some reason I had a memory of like him bringing a date to the game and I thought it was like another guy and that's like what
Well,
really
I don't
informed
think.
you.
at the very end, when they're at the debutante ball, he
Yes.
has one of the soccer players as a date.
Yeah, well, he nudges, like, side like, that is,
Right.
like, the
Yes.
only indication you
One of
get.
like Duke's friend, the basically,
Yes.
I don't know how else to describe him other than like store value brand Channing, like a generically handsome man. He looks like he's like
Yes.
the guy is kind of like he's like a contestant number 4 on The Bachelor kind of
Yes.
energy.
Yeah,
Um,
Very
Yeah.
much
sorry
so.
to whoever that actor is.
uh, yeah,
It's
I
not your
forget
fault. You're
too, I don't
generically
know.
handsome, but
Yeah, so that was, like, what was really upsetting from the play is, like, the play was much more playing with the idea of gender and, like, it gets it a little bit with Olivia and Violet as Sebastian, right?
Mhm.
But not even really, because it's not even really that. Like, we know they're both women, but
Mhm.
you don't necessarily see Viola being like, "Oh, I
there's
like
a
she's
there's a
attractive in that way to me too."
there's a whole weird. Like, I don't even I mean, the movie, obviously asks you not to think about it. It's one of these things, like, you can't think about it too hard because it, like, gets down this weird Freudian psychosexual route where, like, Olivia is attracted to the idea of Sebastian, like, the character that
Mhm.
Viola is playing, which is ostensibly her brother, although
Yeah.
we gotta talk about the persona of Sebastian because he's a psycho. Um,
He is. He
But, like,
is.
so it's, like, an easy enough swap out that, like, the real Sebastian shows up and Olivia will fall and they'll just fall in love with
Right.
each other because I guess the real Sebastian, he's a sensitive singer-songwriter type,
Yeah.
although I guess, like, a womanizer. Like, I
Honestly,
don't know.
that's more
He's
groundwork than the play did, because like, Sebastian literally watches the shore, can't find Antonio, comes across Olivia after being accosted again by some of her other suitors, and she's like, still thinks it's Cesario. I was like, "I like you, let's get married." And Sebastian's like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, I mean, there is a bit of that, like, Shakespeare, like, comedy
Yeah,
convenience where just, like, at the end of the play, everybody just gets paired up appropriately,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
whoever's left over, even to the extent, like, Toby and Eunice,
I know.
Hey, but,
which I
like,
do
they
wanna,
did the
like
groundwork for that one too,
They
like,
did.
he's been
I
making eyes at her since lab.
I'm on board. Well, one of my notes is justice for Eunice, and I'm like
Justice
very
for
on.
you.
And also, I think my quote of the entire movie is when Toby, played by Brandon J. McLaren, says, "Oh, what is it? I have it written down." Oh yeah, the line of the movie is "Screw you guys, I hate high school."
So good.
Where he's like, maybe he's like Eunice is kind of cute, and his friend is like, "You're weird." He's like, "Screw you guys." He's like, so like now it's hip to date Eunice. Like,
Yeah, yeah, so it's so weird, like, there's certain characters that, like, I have no idea where they come from. Eunice is one of them.
Should we hang back up for the listeners because we're 25 minutes into this and explain like, what the is going on?
I know, and it's confusing.
If you're not already familiar with Twelfth Night, or
yep. Okay, well, here
if they haven't like closed the podcast down already.
Okay, I'm going to read you the plot summaries provided by IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and I hate both of them. So IMDb says, when her brother decides to ditch for a couple of weeks, Viola heads over to his elite boarding school, disguises him, and proceeds to fall for his school's star soccer player, and soon learns she's not the only one with romantic troubles.
I think I already know what your problem is.
Yeah.
Which is the very key important detail that the whole reason she's not bailing out her brother, she's using her brother as a cover story because her soccer team gets cut.
Yep.
And she wants to prove that she is good enough to play with the guys. So she enrolls in this other high school solely for the purpose of joining their soccer team, making the guys' soccer team, and beating her old soccer team.
Her ex-boyfriend soccer.
Yes. We're her ex-boyfriend, played by Robert Hoffman, I believe. Yep. Robert Hoffman. And so that's the whole motivating drive of the movie.
There's no romance initially whatsoever driving it. Okay, yeah. So hopefully that rant, Colin, between me and Colin, we've given you the plot more or less. The Rotten Tomatoes summary was even shorter. It's romantic complications ensue when a student poses as her twin brother and replaces him at his boarding school. Like
that's nothing about anything.
Yeah. First of all, like Title IX issue, she shows up. She has this boyfriend named Justin, who's the goalkeeper for Cornwall's soccer team. And she's on the women's soccer team. And she's talking about like having this goal of playing for like the Tar Heels in college and things like that. So there's not enough girls signed up for the soccer team. So they cut it. You can't do that.
No.
It's a Title IX violation. And furthermore, then they first go to the men's soccer team and they're like, hey, coach, let us try out. And he says like, no, you're girls. You can't. And it's like, again, you can't do that. That goes against Title IX. You have to let them try out for the soccer team.
You're breezing past the whole, she can just enroll. But I have a whole backup question. How do these high schools work? What is going on at this place?
I don't know. They're boarding schools.
Yeah, there's a weird, they're like pseudo-British. Like there's a whole weirdness to whatever that, like how these school functions.
On the East Coast.
They have 2 weeks prior to school. I mean, I guess that's sort of a thing where there's like school without school. And like, what's the plan? Like none of it like, never mind. You know what? I can't criticize a movie for like, this wouldn't happen in real life. Like, that's not really a good leg to stand on.
So in that scene, like Viola also like turns to her boyfriend and says like, hey, you've told me you think I'm better than half the guys on your team and you should back us up saying the girls should try out for the team. He's like, no. And she breaks up with him on the spot. She's like, why are you lying? She's like, why don't you just not talk or something? And she breaks up with him on the spot, which is so good. Yes. Right? And like, you know, she kind of talks about being sad about it afterwards, especially in that like weird conversation with a Duke again.
As movie lingo tells us, we are not to like this character, Justin, because his collar is fully popped, which is dress code. Any character with a fully popped polo shirt.
And his hair is spiked.
Yes, he is everything about him. His hair, his jawline, his look, his name.
Douchebag.
Yeah, it's just like, this is a douche.
Yeah. Yup. But it's like, but that moment was so good because she's like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
And not only is like, is this relationship not worth it because you don't support me nor see me as equal, or at least should be given an equal opportunity in this situation? Screw you. I'm going to go try out for another men's soccer team at a school and do whatever it takes to prove that I am more than capable of being not only part of this team, but I can beat this team. And that's what she does throughout the entire film. Basically.
And it has an even hotter team captain.
Yes. Enter Channing Tatum.
who made that first guy cry once upon a time. That's important.
Very important. Yeah.
I
will add, the soccer is very bad.
Of course it is. Well, like they make it look like all fun and like, I don't know, runny aroundy, right? Like it's all like
make a note. you can tell, I think, that like Channing Tatum, I believe, did play soccer at some point, but you can also tell that I think Channing Tatum is like a natural athlete. Like when
Yeah.
he's showing her the drills and he's demonstrating like the kicks and the moving, like the way it was like this guy can move. And then with
Yeah.
no offense to Amanda Bynes, but like
She never played soccer before that. Like,
not yet. I don't
yeah.
think not a natural athlete. That's
I
just
I
not that's
still
not her
love,
forte.
though, when her brother gets swapped in and the way he's stopping the ball by bending his knees down to trap it under his shins. It makes me laugh every time because it's like, I've never seen anyone, no matter how bad they are at soccer, I've never seen anyone try to stop the ball that way.
I shouldn't be laughing because I could not play soccer to save my life, but it is very funny to like have that difference between them of
Mhm.
like the very cool, like, zooming in and out, almost like superhero kind of like weird battle filming for
Yeah.
the soccer, which makes it look like fun and cool
Mhm.
ish when it is very much not. But then, then just Sebastian's this like wide shot of him like flailing.
I mean, yeah, they have, like, what? They have people doing, they have bicycle kicks, they have someone do a flip throw
Yeah.
No,
and
there's a
stuff.
part where, like, in the very, very first scene, I think it's when you're with the blue, because the schools, to remember them, are color coded. One's red, one's blue, so it's like really
Mhm.
easy for the viewer. And when we're at the blue school, I guess Cornwall,
Yeah.
like in the background, like one of the guys on the soccer team just does a backflip.
Yep.
And I just
You
read a
know
message like,
what?
wait, did that guy just do a flip? Like, what part of soccer practice is this? But
Yeah, that's legit, actually.
wait, really?
Yeah, I managed the boys' high school soccer team all 4 years so I could watch my brother play,
Mhm,
and, yeah, I tried to teach myself how to do a flip throw. It's
mhm,
really hard, and I never pulled it off, as well as bicycle kicks. Again, I was short. It wasn't useful for me to try to go for air most of the time, and I was defensive, so, like, I was great at slide tackling. I was not, even headers, I'd be like, "Not worth it.
mhm.
I'm 5'2". I'm not winning this. I'll lower my center of gravity and let you fall over me as you go for it, and we'll call that good." So,
Cool. Yeah.
again, what I hate about those plot summaries is, like, they don't acknowledge, like, what was the whole like, the cross-dressing was purposeful,
Yes.
and she achieves
Her
the
goal.
goal
Yeah,
at the end.
she
Like,
does.
so at the end of the day, that message to me is still really important, still really resonates, and it's still, I think we were talking about this before we started recording. All of this bullshit about trans athletes
Mhm.
pisses me off so much because, like, people who are trying to ban just trans women from playing sports, right? I've read scholars talking about, like, in the ancient world, having stories about trans individuals, like actual trans individuals, not just cross-dressing. It was perfectly acceptable to assume that women wanting to become men, I'm doing air quotes here, of course they do, because who doesn't want to be a man in our society, right? It's weird when Hercules cross-dresses as a woman for a year, but he's the best behaved. He probably had the best life in that year under
Mhm,
Omphale, right?
mhm.
I mean,
And
arguably.
alright, yeah. And it's a lot more questionable when men want to become women, and I, again, air quotes here. So, this whole athlete thing of saying, like, "Oh, it's a danger to have trans women play competitive sports because it's taking away women's opportunities." You.
Mhm.
You.
You. Fuck
Because
you.
if you actually cared about women's sports, you would give the same resources, you would go to businesses to improve designs of equipment, all of this stuff. Like, you can look at pictures at every Olympics, every
Mhm.
international sports, pay equity, and
Mhm.
men have always been treated better, so they're allowed to compete at a higher level than women are.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
So that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents there.
No,
Yeah,
I
no,
completely agree.
all that is to say, yeah, the conceit that sort of barring trans women from competing in sports, particularly at like the youth and high school level,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
way to sort of protect fairness and preserve integrity is absolutely a false flag or a cover for just wanting to criminalize being trans, and it could because it also gets I'm quoting also, well, because it has more public traction than bathroom bans and things like that. It's just a new angle of attack against the trans community.
Yeah. Like, one of the things that felt weird and I felt like feels problematic now, but it's still like a gender reversal is there's like a scene where Viola as Sebastian is sitting in the locker room and she's just ogling the guys just in their towels, right? Until like one guy fully disrobes and she holds the ball up because she doesn't want to see all of it, apparently.
No.
But right, like that's the fear, right? That like, oh, people of opposite sex are going to just like sit and ogle at the people around them, but like that threat is never like the women in the men's locker room. It's the thought that a guy in the women's locker room will do that.
This leads me to sort of a side tangent on like, which is the like sexual mores of this movie, which I guess like I don't know how else to phrase this other than like, is Viola having sex? Because like there's like her shock at seeing a penis is like, I mean, part of it is the Amanda Bynes like, whoa, like, you know, but like,
I mean, I don't want it right in my face when I don't know the guy, right?
There's a whole like this like the weird. I might cut all this whole part out.
I mean, I don't know. I was just giving her a little.
Yeah, but it's like, well, just the larger. I'm just kind of hung up on this lately of just like our weird hang up, particularly when it comes to like like they need to be in love and they need to be macking and they need to be like physically affectionate, but like not sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I never thought about the sex angle because I think they're supposed to be in high school. And so part of it is like leaning toward no. They're also in like segregated dorms, but like that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Yeah.
But they all seem to take everything so seriously. And I kind of was chalking that up to like when you're in high school, everything feels like the end of the world, right? Like,
so everybody who's playing in high school is like in their mid-20s at least, but
also that.
Okay. Interestingly enough,
Amanda Bynes is like 20,
really,
I think, right?
Amanda Bynes was 1920 when this movie came out, and the guy playing her first boyfriend, Justin, I think was only 2 years older than her.
Okay.
So interesting thing is, Amanda Bynes fought to have Channing Tatum cast.
I remember that. Yeah,
he's like 6 years older than her, right? He's
yes, 6 years older, and like literally had no credits to his name at this point. She also admits it later to like having a crush on him, which is like
I'd fight to be across from Channing Tatum,
right?
Yeah, and like Channing Tatum does credit Amanda Bynes for helping starting his career, like so
he pops in this. I think he's great, but
again, the towel flick, but also like paired with like the old-fashioned cell phone that he like flips.
Yeah. I mean, he does his like his signature move comes out, which is the like, no, I don't know. Like the you know what I'm talking about? The changing of the moves, like, I don't like.
Yes, his dweebiness that I love. Like and this is what's always felt true about Channing Tatum in a lot of the roles that I've liked him in is like physically he looks like an ideal man, right? Like masculine.
Yeah, he's an Abercrombie Fitch model, right? Like,
yeah. And he's never been afraid to actually show the more vulnerable side, to be a little dweeby, to like acknowledge just like, yeah, just because you can appear to have all of these idealized traits, you can still be insecure.
Yeah. Insecure in his himbo-ness or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's what has always really resonated with me as, character. And I pray to God I never have to learn differently about him. It's like that would be a disappointment. I would not be surprised to like have to deal with.
So far as we know, in the year of our Lord, April 17th, 2025, Channing Tatum is still good.
Still good. Disappointed me so far. So yeah, I like him, and it's very different from the character in the play, where this guy is super confident. Is like, I'm awesome. I'm a duke, right?
Yeah.
So like, I keep sending these messengers to flirt with Olivia to marry me, but you know what? It doesn't really matter because like that's what's really funny about the play. He's super misogynistic in the play, is the Duke. Not
Mhm.
Viola's Sebastian persona is the super misogynistic one. So I think we'll get into that. But in the play, it's the Duke. And he believes that like only true love and passion can be felt between men. That's something only men are capable of.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Plato.
Yeah, right?
You guys, there's so many
Holy
Greek
shit.
references in the play too. Like Lethe gets mentioned,
Mhm.
Vulca. Like it's kind of fun. There is a tie through to Greek
Yeah.
history and antiquity here. It's a weird
Yeah.
one, but it's there.
No, I mean that's like all Shakespeare. Like one of
Yeah.
its things is that it's deeply like classicizing in a way.
Mhm. Well, I was just gonna say, I think because we've touched on it, the persona that like
This is
Sebastian.
what I would. This is what I was
Yes.
gonna ask.
Yes.
So we got to talk about the suggestion persona. Is like I said up front. If Sebastian was my doormate, I would sleep with one eye open because Sebastian is an absolute lunatic.
It's really weird. It's
He's
not.
so they're so like what part of it is like what's the voice? The voice persona. I was like, is there something like weirdly racialized about what like Sebastian's
There
whole like
is, right?
yeah. Is he doing like
It's
a
trying to be
Bernie
gangsta a little
yeah,
bit.
there's like I'm not even gonna try to replicate it. It feels like it's like a weird it feels like a white high schooler's bad impersonation of a Bernie Mac stand-up routine.
Oh, yeah. Why is that so accurate? Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's very frightening. But I also think it's like going to that hyper or trying to go to sort of a hyper masculine space, right? Of like
Mhm.
Viola is a girl, very, very aware that she is a girl, trying to pass herself off as a man, and so is going like to the extreme in like
Yeah. It's
saying
the
really
scene from
shitty
Mulan.
things. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the scene
yes.
from Mulan where it's like you
Yeah.
gotta strut more, stick out your chest, like spit in
Yes.
that guy,
Yeah.
spit and like punch that guy.
Right,
Like
and that's what I
like
was like, now Hakalugi, as if
Yes.
yeah.
that
As if
But
that is gonna make
But the
you
thing
more
is, like,
manly.
For Mulan, that's like one scene, and then
Yeah.
Mulan gets to be like a normal human being, even
Yes.
when she's in the persona of Lee or that Lee.
Lee.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah.
Sebastian is like that the entire movie, so you have like
There
so much time of just like this absolute lunatic running
Yeah.
around.
I mean, there's a lot of slips too. Like, when so Malcolm Feste is actually a combination of 2 characters. Feste is the fool in the play, and his tarantula is named Malvolio. That's actually what Malcolm's name is supposed to be, is Malvolio, ill will, and he is basically the stick in the mud who's also in love with Olivia, and
His name is Festes, which is like God.
so Festes is a fool. So they're usually actually 2 separate characters. They've combined it into this one guy, strangely enough.
Okay, I'm glad that you said his name was Malvolio because the entire time I thought his pet tarantula's name was Holyoke. I'm like, what a weird I thought it was Mount Holyoke. I'm like, what a weird name for a spider, Mount Holyoke.
No, it's
Maybe
Malvolio.
I'm 2 in the 5 colleges or something now. Because
Uh,
the entire time I heard Mount Holyoke every time he said Malvolio.
So
But
funny.
oh, I
which I'm like,
love it.
maybe he's named it after the school that I don't know. I was like, that doesn't make any sense either. But
Well, man, okay. Much like this movie, we're gonna go all over the place. So Malcolm's character in the play, Malvolio, is an attendant to Olivia, who is in love with Olivia as well. But he's annoying. And everyone all of other Olivia's attendants don't like him. So, and this is what's really sad. There's a female character named Maria or Mariah in the play, and she gets together with Andrew and Toby. Andrew and Toby actually don't hang out with Duke. They're like, one's an uncle to Olivia and the other one's like another suitor basically. And Maria works like, they're getting so annoyed by Malvolio because he's like this big like, "Oh, you must respect rules and only I am good enough for Olivia, blah blah blah." They get fed up. So Maria knows how to write in the hand of Olivia, and she knows where the seals are and everything. So they write this letter that they pretend is from Olivia to Malvolio, and it's supposed to be like a secret letter. And they tell Malvolio, it's like, wear yellow stockings, cross garter them like an old school dude or whatever, and then, smile at Olivia, like, "Smile at me, Olivia," a lot, and then, like, disabuse everyone else that she cares about. And Malvolio's like, "She loves me," and he proceeds to do all of those things. And this is where the
Wow.
line of greatness comes from, because it's
Oh my god.
supposedly Olivia telling Malvolio, it's like, because he's lower station, he's like, "You must seize greatness," right? Like, "Some has greatness thrust upon them." And
Which
so
has
that's
to be like a innuendo, right? Like
basically, yeah, and it's basically tell like, it's this trick to be like, "Malvolio, take your chance." And it's Maria and these 2 other guys just, like, getting him he basically gets locked into a dark room and treated like he's insane by the end of the play.
Oh my god. So they're just f***ing with him
Yeah, and
and bullying him.
yeah,
part of me is like part of my initial. I'm like, get bent, nerd.
that's pretty much what happens, and I'm kind of sad, like, Maria is not really in the movie because, like, the other fun thing about her is, like, everyone around her keeps making, references to how short she is by calling her, like, giantess and things like that. So there's a lot of short jokes.
Oh,
Delightful.
apparently, as storytelling tells us, a creepy nerd deserves all of the worst things in life.
Yeah, and the it's really funny because, he is released at the end when Olivia learns, like, that all her attendants basically played this trick on him, and he vows revenge at the very end of the play and, like, leaves.
He
And
doesn't
so
get to marry anyone.
there are adaptations that actually pick up Malvolio's after story of, like, what happens next.
That's awesome. Oh my god.
Uh, yeah, so I
What a
think that
bleak trick.
Oh,
so
man.
they did that really well with Malcolm's character. I think they, like, got that personification across really well in terms of, like, he's in love with Olivia, but he's also kind of a rule stickler and things like that, so I liked that. Eunice, I have no idea where she comes from, and if you think of her name is also Greek Latin? Is it
Greek.
it's
Yeah,
like
It's
great.
Greek.
good victory, right? And
Yeah,
so, like, I have no idea why Eunice is here. I'm so happy she
she's she's just there to make fun of kids with headgear. Like I don't know.
I know, I feel like she's just, like, supposed to be a classic nerd, but I'm glad that they try to do a little bit more with her of, like, she's actually cool and fun, and you can like nerds? Like,
Yeah.
I
It's a solid message, right? Like,
I mean,
she's not bullied, and, like, no one's trying to some of the guys don't necessarily wanna date her, but one of them very seriously does, and,
yeah.
well, it's very obviously a case of like taking a conventionally attractive woman and like clearly trying to like repulsify her in some
Yes.
way. Where like you
Yes.
can
Yeah.
see like this is a
Yeah.
like this is a like a normally good looking person, but we're
Yep.
just like really bending over backwards to be like, God, this is the most the running joke of like she has a ponytail and glasses. Um,
Some serious, like, headgear for her teeth,
which she
though, like, they went
loses.
all out on that.
Yeah, but Toby's into that. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for
And
him.
I want to like track the art, like the character trope of like weirdly horny nerd.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I feel like
yes.
with the I mean, I guess maybe like
That is the most awkward makeout session I've ever seen, and I like
oh
how,
Well,
yeah.
like, they meet
yes.
on screen and they slowly lower to the ground, which is an open soccer field after a game, and you know they're on the ground because Viola looks down, and I'm like, "What are they doing?"
No one
'Cause,
wants to
like
know.
I'm thinking like Allison Flanagan in American Pie, where like
Yes.
she's
Mhm.
like the band camp freak
Yeah.
basically,
Yup.
and like are we doing like variations of like these like weirdly sexed up nerds? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, I don't know where her character came from, I'm glad she's there, because again, it's not really a reference to the play whatsoever. The other character that's really interesting, because she was solely made for no, Justin has a last name Valentine, which is a reference to another attendant suitor, but, like, has a really small part in the play, so he's kind of an addition. Monique. And I think we really do need to talk about Monique because I think she highlights one of the what has aged poorly about this movie
that
and, like
girls with asses like mine don't date guys with faces like yours.
Mhm.
Yep.
That Monique.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's and when I say it ages poorly, I am also really torn because, like, what is supposed to be so funny about Amanda Bynes' over the top presentation of masculinity as she understands it is like it is super misogynistic, right?
So much
Mhm.
so.
And yet both like so I used to love the scene. I loved the scene of Viola showing up and her two girlfriends helping her out so she can actually get in close with the guys, right?
Mhm.
Get in
Mhm.
with Duke and his friends.
The way to
And
impress these men is to reject hot women
yeah.
or have
Li-
hot women say how much they like being with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, off to the aside to the guys is, like, needy, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, saying all of these nice things to these girls up front, and
Mhm.
then, like, the aside to, like, what you
Right.
say to the guys to be like, "Oh, I don't really need them."
Mhm.
And I think, like, it feels like it aged poorly, and yet this is the same kind of rhetoric that's being thrown out by huge influencers like Andrew Tate and others, right? That like
Mhm.
young men, young boys take seriously. Like this is how you get girls.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is funny that what is supposed to be a hyper real not what
A
is supposed to be a
farce, right? Like
a
there's
farce
no way
Yeah.
this
comedy
is
scene
believable.
Right.
is kind of 2006's farce scene is like 2025's manosphere talking point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the whole but like I don't know, all the semantics that they use to talk about Monique are it's like the crazy ex-girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Who like can't take the ex
Yeah.
in front of girlfriend and how so much of that can be incredibly toxic for well, what do you mean like crazy? Like what yeah, that
We're literally given nothing about like
their
why we
relationship
shouldn't
is
like Monique.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought for a long part of this movie, I actually, again, with the age thing, I thought Monique was like a fully adult woman, but
That's fair. That's
Right?
totally fair.
Yes.
Yeah, like, if you imagine, like, this is a teenager and, like, the way and that's just it too. It's like, think about teenagers who do present at that. Like, that is something that young
Mhm.
women do go through, right? Like, they
Yes.
present much older, more mature because they wanna be the hot girl with faces like this that don't date guys with asses like whatever. I messed it up. Asses like this don't date guys like that.
faces like
Anyway.
this don't ask guys like
We all messed up today.
But it's also like not even sometimes their fault, right? Like very young girls are hypersexualized just
Mhm.
because they like have boobs, which is should not be a sexual thing, just existing as a woman who
Yeah.
happens to be young.
I will say, like, the opening of the movie, when I was that age, looked fun.
Oh, sure.
Playing soccer on the beach looked so fun. Watching it now at my age, and I'm
No
like,
way.
I am so uncomfortable watching this, like, group of teenagers in nothing but bikini tops playing soccer. Like,
Yep.
first of all,
Mhm.
you wouldn't. That
No.
is no,
No
not
way.
comfortable in any way.
No
Same with
way.
Amanda Bynes not having her hair in a ponytail at the end of the soccer game. At the end
Drives
of the
me insane.
That actually,
Drives
yes,
me absolutely insane.
I made a note, which was like, you still have to put your hair up. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Literally still have to put your hair up.
Put it back under the wig, girl. Like, come on. And yeah, and it's just but it's like, again, when this came out when I was that age, it's like, that was everything you were aspiring to that age, right? Like, you
Mhm.
wanted to be the hot girl. You wanted to and it's so weird because it's like the women don't actually have that much power in being attractive. I think the kissing booth is the only
Yes.
kind of situation where they do, and even then it's made so uncomfortable. Like no one should be subjected to it.
oh, the kissing
Is
booth
that
is so
ever an
fucked up.
actual thing? Has
I
anyone actually ever done that?
God, I hope not.
I really hope no one was
Because it's
actually
like
subjected to that.
a basis of like multiple stories, right? Like there's a movie on
Oh,
Netflix called
Yeah,
just like
there's a
The Kissing Booth, right?
yeah.
it's one of those things where you're like, I only know it in the trope of film and television, and
Yeah.
never once in my life have I been in a zone where there is like a kissing booth. I mean, just the idea of like lining up with like a bunch of people ages 12 to 120
Yeah.
to kiss the
With
same
the guy
high
chewing
schooler.
tobacco and like, yeah.
Ew.
The whole thing is like, this is weird, and then yet they have to do it on a stage, and the way Amanda Bynes and Olivia are kind of so nonchalant, they're like, yeah, like swap out with me, I'll kiss the next 20 guys, again, ages 12 to 120.
Yeah, and like the young guy is like, you don't have to flirt with her, you paid for this, and I'm like, oh, that also feels horrid.
Oh, bad. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, it's so gross. Absolutely disgusting.
I want to hear from one real life human being in this world. Has kissing booths ever actually been a thing? Or is this a contrivance and a myth populated? Is this going to be one of the things that people 2,000 years from now think that we had kissing booths at state fairs because it's in like every film and
I feel like maybe it was a thing in like the 50s and it wasn't like you're going to kiss someone on the lips. You like the girl would kiss him on the cheek or something like that. Like I feel like
literally just Googling this.
I know.
Yeah, I me too. It's keep coming back with the movie.
Oh my god. So they were not as common as they once were.
Figures.
You're right. Well, all right, hang on. This is the AI overview. But you were right, Chrissy, the 50s.
Okay. It's like, this feels like a 50s thing.
Oh, it
that
does.
was also a lot more innocent than how we portray them today. It's like, nobody's kissing people on the lips. Like,
you get a woman to give you a peck on the cheek for like
yeah, it's like a fundraising thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or like the like date auction. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Deb ball, which is another thing.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, and I find that's very interesting, right? Like this has been juxtaposed on the side with like, not only is Viola basically going through male puberty through her persona as her brother Sebastian on one front, but she is also, in order to like their parents are divorced and Viola like so she can go to Illyria for 2 weeks, tells her mom she's going to her dad's, and her mom only gives in because she's like, well, I'm going to prep for this debutante ball. And like the comment is like, oh, you're gonna finally become a lady. And it's such this weird thing to think like Amanda Bynes' character is supposedly both becoming a young man and a young lady at the same time.
Which like she has no like pride. It's not that she like struggles with femininity in any way. It seems like, well, I mean, she's like a little rougher around the edges and chews with her mouth open, but like
because she's angry.
I mean, yeah, the movie does like this whole, well, like it kind of has to thread this like when she's a girl, she's still hot. Like, don't worry.
Yeah,
but,
there is almost that like don't worry kind of aspect to it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, again, brings me back to the whole like this weird like hidden parentheses idea of sex, because like the thing that weirds me out so much about Deb balls, a thing that I didn't learn existed until I was like in my mid-20s and I lived in the South, and then which I have questions for you two about, because like it is a completely alien concept to me, but it's like this bizarre like I'm presenting my daughter of marriageable age like it's like a I don't know, it's like this cow at market or something.
Literally.
Like it's so weird about it. It feels like this, I don't know, there's just like this is some weird Southern nobility thing that I'm like,
it is. It
100%
is. And I mean, it comes from a lot of, I mean, it's British in origin, obviously, and it, comes from introducing, a daughter into society, therefore like of marriageable, but also like presentable age of
but
like
it's
now
literally
she's
putting them on the marriage market.
This is her debut, right?
Yeah.
This is her,
but like market is the word, right, of like now I'm like taking offers for my daughter.
Right. And it's like you're putting her on eBay or some shit.
Well,
wild.
I think today it's not as much that as it gets more treated like training women into traditional gender roles for women, right? Like,
but there's like a beauty pageant aspect.
There's a beauty pageant aspect. There's you learn etiquette.
Yeah.
You know, there's
like all right, so like kind of backstory. I first learned about this when my first job post college, it was in Houston, Texas, and I was working for an art gallery, and we were doing a job where we were replacing and reframing a bunch of photos and paintings and other stuff that was hanging in a country club in like a suburb of Houston. And so we like went and we like took down, because they were like refurbishing the interior and redoing it. And so we like collected like literally like 100 of the like, it's this massive like country club, and they have these like photos going back like every year, and there are all these photos that I'm like taking down and like preparing for storage, and they're all just like these like girls in white dresses with like old ass men in tuxedos, and I'm like, what the is this? and my boss is like, it's a Deb ball. It's like the yearly Deb ball. And I'm like, what the hell is a Deb ball? And then I asked my coworkers who were like women from the South, like one of them went to Baylor and one of them went to something like that, and like who had like done Deb balls and things like that. And like one of them like pulled up like her then boyfriend, like was featured in a like magazine for like San Antonio socialite, where it's like, like, oh, like so-and-so escorting so-and-so. And she pulled up like a magazine article for like them boyfriend, like at a Deb ball in, whatever, 2008 or something like that. And it sent me down this whole spiral of like, what is this? Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like
that's really interesting. Cause it's not like culturally that was around me, growing up in Washington State. I know what a Debbie, like I've known. Because it's like it's presented in, I don't know, historical fictions and stuff all the time. There's other elements, like I think closer to what I would have known were purity balls, which are creepy in their own, because it's like young girls vowing their chastity to their fathers until they give it to their husbands.
Oh, it's incredibly disturbing.
Yeah. So there's those, and then like experience with like sororities and fraternities. There's a lot of
like ritualistic
elements with that
behavior.
Too.
Yeah, this is some medieval shit. Like, I don't know.
Correct. No, I didn't grow up in like my teenage years in the South. Like I moved from North Carolina when I was 7. And Iowa does not really have the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was also something that I kind of, I did see in pop culture, but especially as the thing that like girls rebel against. It is usually framed as this like thing that girls who are like sporty or athletic or different like don't want to do, and it is like a vision of the foil for what they want their character to be. And so it is very often this evil. I don't say evil, but it's like,
I mean, even just in pop culture, I feel like that, like as in this, it's like it is like the den of Satan or something.
Yeah,
like,
it's not fun.
and that's just it, right? Like this is, that's traditional female gender roles being presented in this cultural institution that exists. And then the misogyny that Viola is doing in sports, in men's sports, is something I would argue is like even the coach of Illyria, who's like, we don't gender discriminate, and yet some of the language he uses, like, I don't think that would fly.
I don't know about that.
I feel like he drops an F-bomb.
Exactly, which was my other choice, because like this Miscongeniality and Legally Blonde, like they were kind of this weird trifecta of female empowerment.
Well, it's like women doing roles that are traditionally ascribed to men, right? Like FBI agents, lawyers, and soccer players, athletes, like
athletes.
We haven't even brought up the whole like one of my fixations, not to derail this conversation, of like this where it falls in the arc of like Shakespeare adaptations. Like I'm thinking of like 10 Things I Hate About You, where like there was a time, I guess in the early 2000s, where like the way to box office success is we take a Shakespeare play, but we set it in high school.
Yes.
And Clueless to a less, but it's Jane. As we talked before the show, it's Jane Austen. But take a bit of classic literature, high school English class. I mean, even like it's not quite the same, but like Mean Girls, kind of. I'm just thinking because like in Mean Girls, they're like discussing Julius Caesar in the class, even though it's not actually an adaptation. But there is a sense of like this is like playing out some kind of grander like high school English class is getting realized in actual high school.
Yeah.
I would argue Mean Girls is a tragedy, like because you have Regina George getting hit by a bus at the end. Like,
it feels like Mean Girls. Like you could reverse engineer the Shakespeare play that was Mean Girls or something. Like that would be a fun exercise. Like the lost play that inspires Mean Girls. On the similar, it's like speaking of another Amanda Bynes, Easy A is like the Scarlet Letter.
Yep.
But also references Huck Finn. But Yeah, like that sort of like we're going to adapt literature into high school, but update it sort of accordingly.
Yeah.
Although I would argue, I think 10 Things and Easy A and Clueless, I think are all better versions of this
I would agree.
than
I would
Mhm.
agree.
I would also agree. Yeah.
Again, it's like if there wasn't such a personal connection for
For sure.
me to this movie in terms of like my very lived experience of playing soccer in high school around like men and like that's what's hard is about this movie too is you don't actually see a lot of female camaraderie. Like she
Yeah.
has her two friends, but they're almost practically nameless and they're
Yeah.
used as tools to like further like it's not
Mhm.
like she's helping them try to get on the men's soccer team. Like, some of this goal is really selfish too, because like only Viola can take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All of her friends who have also lost their opportunity to play soccer, who are talking about wanting to play in college just like her,
Right.
Mhm.
they're
Yeah,
pushed to
what
the
do they
side.
do? What do they get
Yeah,
to do? Yeah.
yeah.
They aid and
They get
abet in
to live
Viola's
vicariously through
farce.
Viola. And so, like, in terms of female relationships, the little bit we get is between Olivia and Viola as Sebastian. Like, when
Yeah.
she, like, is just like, "Oh, I don't think I can handle dissection," and it's like, "I feel like I can be myself around you," and all of that, like but again, it's with this assumption that, like, "Oh, but this is a heteronormative relationship on the surface," it looks like. It's not like an actual female friendship because I don't know, that's where it gets weird. Like, this is the closest this relationship of Viola as Sebastian and Olivia is the one closest to the play.
Yeah, but it's still filtered through this like hetero-romantic kind of
Yeah.
lens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And again, coming back to she just starts dating Sebastian, just picks up that thread, no issue, nothing weird going on there. Where it's like, how'd you two meet? We're like, oh, like I fell in love with your sister when she was disguised as you, and then I met the real you,
But
and
also
it was
also
close
his
enough.
music also his music, so
Yeah, I
it's not
read
Yeah,
the lyrics of
better.
one song and now I'm
Yeah.
in love with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's high school.
Okay, fair enough. Fine. Fine.
Okay, so going back to the high school thing and the dating, right? Like,
Mhm.
how simple or stupid this seems, I do wanna, like, highlight one thing that's interesting about it in the gender dynamics, like, the fact that, like, you have the debutante ball on one side, sports, like, there's a whole again, maybe a scene you could have cut, but there's, like, a whole scene where they're going to be, initiated? What's the word?
Oh, hazed.
Hazed, they're being hazed, right? And they're like, "Do a strip,
Initiated.
do a strip," and they're throwing stuff, and Viola has, like, Paul is like I don't know if that added anything, except that is something that often happens in both, again, sorority,
There's
fraternity
just
stuff, and
there's just
sports.
like, the movie gets a lot of gimmicks out of like, oh
Yeah.
no, like she has to take a shower, or like how is she
Yeah.
gonna like disguise her tampons or whatever it is.
I still
Like
okay, and you know what? When that movie came
tampon.
out, people like men the boys soccer team started using tampons for nosebleeds because you take a ball to the face and like
Yeah,
because you can't
yeah.
go back on the field until you stop bleeding and you can't have it
Yeah,
on your
that's true.
uniform. So like that film literally inspired like men's boys high school soccer teams to actually it's like, yeah, we should have some tampons around just in case.
Adorable.
Yeah, and like, you know what? Makes perfect sense. Why
I
wouldn't
mean, it kind of does. Fine. Fair enough.
And so, and what the premise is at the end of the day, the relationship between Channing Tatum's Duke Orsino and Viola as Sebastian, especially when Viola's actually being more herself or like trying to pretend to be herself, is like this comfortable camaraderie that can exist between the two when you're not trying to be, you know, hyper feminine or hyper masculine.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
like, that's the other message too is like we're all just people trying to get along with each other
Yeah.
and when we're empathetic like when, Olivia falls for Sebastian or Viola as Sebastian when she's being sympathetic or, like, connecting to her with, like, on her interests, like, "Oh, she's from anthropology."
Mhm.
Mhm.
Or, like, just
I mean, I don't know if this movie or its audience is necessarily ready for the like Judith Butler like genderist performance like thing of
well, and that's what the Shakespeare play was really about actually was,
yeah.
I texted you guys because like,
Yeah.
the in England only in England was it still at this point because the guy who said this weird comment, like, who knew women could play women so well in plays? Because it was always young boys or Cesarios, right,
Right.
who played women in English theater, but he went to Italy and women were performing. And so it's like, yeah, how bonkers did that have to be that if you are Viola in this play, you are a young man playing a woman, pretending to play a young man, and vice versa. And like,
Yeah.
what kind of
Which
mind hurdles do you have to go through to
yeah,
like,
which I'm gonna pause. Anyways.
yeah,
I don't know how
Well,
that
I
would get
do.
realized.
I mean, I think about like what Shakespeare in Love, and there's another one that's similar to that. That's also about like the men who play women in
mhm,
Shakespearean, plays, and then women pretending to be men playing women in Shakespearean plays.
right.
But it seems like a lot of the burden on the labor and like the interpretive labor of functioning and acting like a different gender comes down to women
Yeah.
in a lot of times.
Well, and I think we can start to understand this more easily now because drag has become such a big thing in pop
Mhm.
culture
Yes.
recently,
Yeah.
where what's interesting too in Shakespeare time is that women could perform like plays and stuff, but they were usually called masks and they were like more private affairs. Publicly in the like Globe Theater and stuff, women weren't allowed to perform on stage. But that wasn't mean like women were not allowed to act. And there's evidence to show that these young boys who played female characters would look to the examples that of women performing in these masks to like decide how they're going to do gestures and like play up certain
Mhm.
parts. And you can see that with drag too, right? Like there are certain like Dolly
Yeah.
Parton's a great example. Like
Mhm.
she's hyper feminine in a certain way that feels
Yeah.
over the top, but that then works really well for drag and
Mhm.
But then also, yeah, it becomes almost like it's like a thing unto itself, where like
yeah.
drag has sort of become its own kind of gender identity that's like it's like related to, but also apart from
Mhm.
femininity or something like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it takes on then like to the point of like the stage where like the female character kind of like that gendered identity of female characters in Shakespeare or any other play or something that like has its own kind of I'm making gestures with my hands, but like its own byline that these male actors or whoever are following it. Like it becomes a gender performance unto itself. That is like it's almost like it's its own gender.
Yeah.
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 That is, it's like a third or it's like, 2.5 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not exactly.
Well, they
um,
become tropes, right? There
yeah.
are
Exactly.
certain
Yeah.
character tropes that even we, can identify today and play into today. Like so Monique is this weird mean girl trope that we know, and we know the same as Justin is like we're not supposed to like her for
Right.
certain
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, she's just bad, right? Because
Yeah.
she's superficial, she's possessive. Why
And
is
yet
she
she
so hung up on Sebastian? What's Sebastian's capital? But I don't know.
but the thing is like we don't know anything about their relationship from anything I'd seen other than being mistreated overall, like with her relationship with Sebastian. It's just like I don't see her being overly mean or anything.
No,
Like,
because like I don't think we see them interact like
no.
at
We
all.
see we see her like she's yelling for Sebastian, Sebastian. Like again, like it's playing into this idea of she's being what's the word that I
Crazy
hate?
ex-girlfriend.
Well, no, no, no. When Viola's walking up, she's just like
Yeah.
the soccer game, and you hear Monique. She's got her earplugs in, and you hear Monique, Sebastian, Sebastian, and it's coming across as like nagging. Nagging is like the
Mhm.
voice I
Yeah.
want to say, and it reads into us, and it's really interesting too because she's like, "Oh, you look scarily like nothing she says to
Yeah.
Viola is like especially bad." And
No.
Viola even walks in and is like, "She'll do great things," and I'm like,
Mhm.
I felt like that was actually a compliment almost, but
Yeah,
then
Viola
the
has
rest of
to.
but then
There's a
the
lot of
rest of it,
shorthand.
yeah.
The movie is like teaching us that like it's like setting up that like Viola could convincingly impersonate Sebastian, and
Right.
Mhm.
two, Monique sucks, and Viola
Yeah,
is like you suck and I don't like you and like you don't
yeah.
deserve happiness. Um,
Yeah.
And we read into it because again, it fit into its very 2000s mean girl look.
Yes.
mhm.
Very
Like
much so.
we
Yes.
know what that's supposed to look like. We
Mhm.
know how we're supposed to react to it, even though we've given no substantive evidence of like,
It
is
also
she bad though?
I assume there's something a la Mean Girls and like just this whole era of like this, like the way fashion happens in
Yeah.
this whole era. And like, I assume this film is taking place in California.
I
I
read
don't
it as East Coast.
Oh, I also read it as California,
Oh,
but
interesting.
I don't have any evidence to actually point to that beyond that it seemed like it was a relatively nice climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mostly it just sort of seemed like, I don't know,
I guess the beach
this sort
scene
of
would
seemed like
establish that.
Yeah.
they seemed California rich in a way that, like, I don't know
That's
how
fair.
else to
Mm,
describe. Although
Yeah.
that said, Viola's parents are super waspy, so maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
true. True.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
to a segue into my point, which is the true tragedy is the like sexual repression of Viola's mom. Um,
Yeah. Why don't you date him, Mom? Oh, no, I
she genuinely considers it. And then like how also like this whole farce is like the magic that brings their parents back together.
Like, did we need that? Did that why?
That just to me read into the larger, like the end of these kinds of things, everybody needs to just start pairing up. But
Yeah.
That is what
No.
happens in the play. A lot of people just get married off all of a sudden.
yeah.
And I mean, that's the happily ever after that you want in 60 something. Like,
Yeah, just a lot of narratively convenient pairings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was
Mhm.
also, especially like naming people at the end, was like just a further opportunity to allude to like what their character reference was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So like there's a little bit of that. The one other thing that I thought was really interesting about this, because again, this is the first role that I saw Amanda Bynes in that I enjoyed. Because I didn't like the Amanda show that much and things like that. And she talks about actually falling into a huge depression after this movie because she didn't like how she looked as a boy.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
Uh,
And furthermore, like that was further complicated because she experienced that people were much like the cast and crew was a lot friendlier and were more willing to approach her when she was dressed as Sebastian. Right.
Oof.
mhm.
And I think that being a young I think most female comedians would tell you it's like it's still really hard to be in that space.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
someone as young as she was being in that space, and she was like if you watched I forget what the series was called. It was like behind the scenes or something.
Yeah,
It
the
was
expose on Dan Snyder and the whole Nickelodeon, like
yeah.
that
Yeah.
whole era
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
Nickelodeon. I mean, all of those, like
Oof.
Josh Peck came out of it weirdly or like uncharacteristically unscathed, but like Drake
Yeah.
Bell got real
Drake
fucked up by
Bell.
this, Amanda too,
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of
yeah.
other
Yeah.
critters. Mhm.
And Amanda's thing was, like, she probably like, I don't I don't wanna I don't know, her career is more or less over at this point, like, I think
She was under conservatorship for a while,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
maybe
yeah,
has been released since. But like, I think following the Britney that whole arc, there was a push a little bit for Amanda, although I'm not sure if it
yeah.
never got the same kind of traction.
Because Easy A was kind of like her slight comeback, and then
Yeah,
nothing really again after that, and I think some of it was, like, she was elevated above her other castmates who had by Dan Snyder and was very versus, like, all of these other were, like, horribly mistreated by him, and, like, I think that being paired with the experience of, like, your gender you already feel like you're defending yourself so much as a young female comedian, and then not liking how you look because it doesn't match your gender identity, which shows that, like,
Mhm.
Psy people can also experience this. Go figure. It's
Yep.
a real thing. But then having being treated better because you present as more masculine, God, that's gotta suck.
I mean, that's gotta be really, really messed
Yeah.
up.
mhm,
Yeah.
And I don't this movie in this moment, again, it felt like it aged poorly. And then yet it's speaking to so many things that have become contentious in
mhm.
our society today.
Yes. Yes.
I was watching like a TikTok and it was a young woman explaining it's like, "Hey, yeah, we all know about like the bad like manosphere rabbit holes that young men can fall into, but women, are you aware of the ones you can fall into? So, like, clean makeup products, trad wife stuff,
Trad
Mhm.
wife. Yeah.
like, just a lot of things, and she was doing a great job of highlighting, like, how that also leads to algorithmic rabbit holes that go hyper feminine gender norms.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, man, this film should feel a lot more dated than it is. Quiet on Set.
Yes.
Quiet
Yeah.
on Set was the series, yeah. I do recommend watching that if you can handle it. That
I started it. It was
yeah,
really hard. It was really
yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Like, Ariana Grande was very much caught up in the hypersexualization of, Britney Spears' little
Yeah.
sister.
I would say, I
Yep.
mean, Britney Spears herself, like, it's as you realize when in the music video for "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time," she's 16, I think, in
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Which, when you watch that back, and you're like,
Yeah.
Ooh,
"Yikes!" Mhm.
Yeah.
no. So
Yeah.
ugh, so
Yeah,
gross.
and I think that's what this film, like, I enjoyed it, again, for the nostalgia. What was really hard is that these problems we've identified and feel like we should have addressed and moved past, it feels like we've backslid into.
Mhm.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, and just thinking about all of the inequality between men and women's sports, like, the more and more that I think about, like, my own high school
Mhm,
experience, is like, when I was a swimmer, we didn't have our own locker room. Like, we had to share a locker room, and it was with the
mhm.
wrestlers, and the wrestlers would, like, pee in our shampoo bottles because they were pissed that they had to share their locker room, like,
She
part of the season with girls. And just, I don't know, it's like a tiny little thing that happened in, like, part of my high school
Mhm.
life, but it was really up.
Mhm.
Like, that's really
Yeah,
shitty for people to do to other athletes who are just trying to enjoy their sport, get better at what they do, and that should be available to
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
And that's the part that I like about
yeah,
She's the Man, is that it's very much like, if you want to get better at something, work really hard at
yeah,
it, or, like,
Mhm.
find resources, or, like, get in touch with people who are also really good at it. It's like very, I don't know, very much like pushing agency
mhm,
for, people who want to grow and do fun things and enjoy
yeah.
stuff. And that should not be gendered
Mhm.
in
That's
any
ki
way.
like, it's this thing where in high school, I do recognize, like, there felt like a huge need at the time to fit a gender norm,
Mhm.
and that created this distance between girls and guys that sometimes I didn't need to feel. Because, like, again, I spent a lot of time with the guys' soccer team, and a lot of times it was really fun, and these were also my classmates and stuff, and then there were times, like, I'd be standing in line. I was the only girl this year. I'm standing in line for our, like, a meal break on the way back from an away game, and one of the guys slaps my ass, and I don't know which one it is, and all of them laugh at me. My dad's there. My dad's the bus driver.
Mhm. Yeah, super.
That's
It's
messed up.
so up,
That's so up.
and, but also it's like, I'm the only one there, and I have to, like, not make a big deal about it. I'm like,
Yeah. For your own
Mhm.
safety,
yeah,
right? Like,
I have to
that's
take it as a compliment, because if I take it as
yeah.
anything else, then, like, I'm not welcome in that space anymore, right?
Mhm.
And, I think that's what's really frustrating is, like, the most authentic moments is when you can bring down these gender barriers and be vulnerable and empathetic to each other, that you have real human connection, and, like, there's those moments in the
Mhm.
movie that I really like, and I wish that, like, more people just recognize that when you're not trying to adhere to these patriarchal gender norms, you can actually connect with people and, like, not have it be scary. I I don't know what
Yeah.
else to take from it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And well, it's in coming back to just like, youth sports and all of this really ridiculous transphobic bullshit. It's like, in middle school and high school, being in sports is how young people create community. It's how
Mhm.
young people find, like, friends
Yeah.
and things that they like. And again, can grow at something and, like, strive toward goals and, like, that should be good for everybody. And yeah, it's like that is the enjoyment of doing something. It's not necessarily that everybody who plays a high school sport is going to go on to become like a Division 1 athlete or an NCAA or like even a professional athlete, right? It's like, this is part of just being a fucking human.
Yeah.
And maybe you should let people do that.
Yeah. 100%. That's all I got. That's all. I'm like mad now, but like
I got to pivot out. I got to pivot out if you want to go light.
You got to pivot us out, Colin. Save us.
Okay. Why? Because I'm meant. No,
why shouldn't I have strong feelings?
I don't know how to build on that.
I was gonna go into like a whole thing about gender between Alien versus Predator. No, I can't. I don't have the brain.
Because the Predators taught us toxic masculinity. Now we live in a world, which is that's the
Predator.
myth.
What have you done to us?
Predators invented.
So we live in a world.
Do we know if there are female predators?
We still haven't answered that question, I don't think.
So far as
we also haven't answered the question of, are predators male?
This is true. For all we know, they are all women. For as far as we are aware.
Yeah, we don't know what their anatomy looks like versus what they're like. Maybe their species doesn't have gender.
Yeah,
like,
they just have hunter and hunted. That's their. That's
their what's the word? Shoot. There's a really fun word for it where you can just procreate with yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of amphibians do that.
Yeah.
They are like
it's autoparthenos.
Yes,
Parthenos or something like that.
Yes.
Autoparthenogenesis.
Yes, that's it.
Wait a bit.
You know, in my own headcanon, that is predators.
Yeah, they only have one. I described it. They only have one categorization, which is hunter. And are you? You either are it or you are not.
You're either a hunter or you're dead.
I think technically somewhere in the show notes in Alien versus Predator, the young predators are referred to as young bloods. The idea that they're not fully adult predators because they haven't made their first kill yet. But anyways, again, Alien versus Predator
for sure.
Again,
Alien versus Predator is teens versus babies, but no. The actual question I wanted to end on, which is I wanted to talk about eras of Channing.
Okay. Yes.
Because this is a Channing. I mean, it is in some ways watching this film shocking to see a 25, 26-year-old.
26. Yep.
Yeah, Channing Tatum. He's just much like I don't know. He's much thinner, for lack of a better. Like he was
a dancer. So if you see Step Up, he's lithe.
Yes,
as you would see in the
he's slighter, and then he bulks up a lot more in future roles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and now he's what, like 40 now or something like that.
Yeah, he's in the 40s.
He's 44. But so my question is, what's to you peak Channing Tatum?
I have a really soft spot in my heart for Step Up, which I know is very, very beginning of the road Channing Tatum, but that was the first movie that I saw with Channing Tatum, and I don't know, classic early 2000s movie,
so good.
And again, same year as She's the Man, and I think it just, I don't know. Much like some kind of fluffy romance novel, it's just very satisfying and fun and brain candy and I think he does a really good job, and I appreciate he has he's good comedic timing.
Yeah,
we've seen him in other comedic roles that I think is it's a good spot. The comedic Channing Tatum is a very good spot. So
I was gonna say, I'm so glad you so fondly remember Step Up as well, because that I literally saw that movie because again, my friend was into dance who also played soccer, so I remember seeing Step Up in theaters. I don't know if I saw this one in theaters. I know I saw Step Up in theaters, and this is the same friend who is also obsessed with High School Musical, so I had to watch a lot of High School Musical.
I'm sorry.
And I obviously love early Channing Tatum. I don't know. He showed up on the scene, and I couldn't stop looking at him ever since. He's been present. I will say karaoke as Beyonce's single lady performer, pretty good.
Okay, yes.
Pretty good. But goddamn if I don't love him in Lost City.
I know. Well, I'm also thinking of 21 Jump Street.
Yep.
Which I like.
That's mid Channing, right? That's 2012.
Yeah,
I would say that's
much
mid
in the middle, but it's also just classic comedic. Just he's perfect.
I mean, in some ways, that's kind of the apotheosis of this character Duke, where I mean, because he's a
Yes.
guy pretending to be in high school, but he has about that same like the insecurity about his intelligence, or
Mhm.
and or in this in She's a Man, is insecurity about emotions, but in
It's
20th
not even
Century,
emotions, it's just dating ability, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, like playing
Yeah.
insecurity well. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, he has the same like, no, no, like, you know, like, we're all making face. We're trying to do the Channing Tatum face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, yeah, it's not like that.
And that's why I think I like The Lost City so much, is because we have that conversation, after his skin's breaking out and he's got all the face peel masks on his back, and he has that conversation of, like, he wants to make it big, he wants to act in LA, and all he can get are these modeling gigs for romance novels, and he talks about, like, feeling humiliated, like, not wanting to, like, tell people, and then I think he talks about, like, actually reading the book, right? And
Mhm.
just realizing, realizing how much joy he brought to people, because
Yeah.
he was the poster child for these
Mhm.
books that brought women so much comfort, and then he embraced it.
Yeah.
He, like, fully
Mhm.
embraced it, and, like, it's still, like, him admitting he was vulnerable and insecure, and, like, this is the fully realized. I'm like, "But it's cool." Like, I
Yeah.
I see what good it brings in the world, and I'm cool with that now.
Yeah. Which I just like, yeah, everybody should be a little bit more cool and less serious about just the joy that they can bring into the world,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, by not
Call
caring
laughing at me.
No, no,
well,
no,
that's just
'cause
it,
I'm
right?
laughing.
Like,
No,
but
'cause
but
I'm laughing
specifically by
about
not caring.
what I'm about to say, which is like, we're gonna get the
You're gonna
facetious
ruin it,
answer.
Colin.
Yeah, because I was gonna say his cameo in End of the or This Is the End.
Oh god. Oh my god.
Where they seed, they're like, Channing
I
Tatum lives
had
next door.
forgotten that.
And then spoilers for like a 10-year-old movie now or something like that. When he shows up at the end and he's basically Danny McBride's like gimp suit bitch.
Oh god.
It's like a dog collar.
He's in the like he's in the like leather fetish dog collar.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh hey guys. And they're like, wait, is that Channing Tatum?
No, he doesn't take himself too seriously, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Magic Mike of it all is
Yeah,
still
Magic
kind of
Mike feels like another
Magic
It's
Mike
like
is just him, like, remembering his dancer days.
yeah, and
well, I
well,
feel
he
like there's such a big difference between Magic Mike, the first one,
yes,
and
and
then the other
Magic Mike
3.
1, which is like a meditation on like fragility and the like economic
Yes.
plight of like white men in the South, and like there's this whole like
Yes.
it's like deeply depressing and sad about
Very
this
sad.
world. And then Magic Mike XSL is like you just want to see people dance to like Pony by Genuine. But
Yes. It's just like, what if we just did Magic Mike but made it fun?
what if Channing Tatum just like did a really sexy dance?
Yeah.
Well, have you guys seen, Deadpool, the newest Deadpool Wolverine?
Yes, where
Where
he
I have not.
he got to be,
Gambit.
like, my favorite X-Men character,
I mean,
which was Gambit.
I'm all over the place about how I feel about his Gambit.
Well, it was definitely like, I think it was meant to be spoofier 'cause,
Yeah,
it's a
there's a
Deadpool
whole.
movie at the
I mean,
end of the
he's
day.
doing a voice, right? He's doing the like.
He's
He's
doing the Creole
yeah, he's
voice,
doing like a
kind of.
Cajun, yeah, kind of thing, and he's
Yeah.
from Alabama, so it's yeah, but he's a little looks a little. Never mind. I don't want to go down my
That's
my
fair.
thoughts.
At the
about
end of the day,
Gambit.
like, that was like, what I love about that story is just, like, he always wanted to be Gambit. And it's
Yeah.
like, I can imagine the little boy Channing Tatum, Halloween, mid-90s, being like, "I love X-Men, I love Gambit, I wanna be Gambit." And, like, he gets to realize that little boy dream. It's like, I kinda love it for that.
Yeah. Well, I still think one of my favorite Channing Tatum movies is Logan Lucky, which
Oh.
I don't think I've
is
seen that
like
one.
a
Yeah,
sleeper
that's
hit.
Steven Soderbergh. It's also like the genesis for like this was like Daniel Craig kind of like testing out
Ah.
what's gonna be
Yes.
Benoit Blanc.
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
'Cause
So
it's a
good.
heist. It's a heist film set around it. They're gonna rob a NASCAR race, right? And
Correct.
so it's Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, and their brother, or they're some things. They're brothers, right?
They're brothers, and then they break Daniel Craig
Craig.
out of prison.
Nice.
And he's like the bomb expert. And then they have like a bunch of other, or they have 2 other like hillbilly friends that come, rob the track with them. And it's just, I don't know. It's a classic. Y'all know I love a heist, and it
That's
just
true.
is such a good movie. It's still one of my sleeper favorites.
So I feel like we've established our like top 2 male actors thus far in conversations are Robert Pattinson and now
Yeah.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
fair enough.
Well, and Vincent Reagan, who just happens to be in everything that we review, but that's
Yeah. That's true. I don't know if we like love
he's
him.
good. He's good in
He's
everything.
there.
He's just ubiquitous. Like I'm
He's just
pretty
there.
sure if you go through all of the films and television that we have reviewed, Vincent Reagan is overrepresented.
I would also say that about Derek Jacobi at this point.
Oh God,
And
right?
it's like Jack McAfee, it's like for the same thing like 3 times, but
2 Gladiator movies.
2 Gladiators and then
Horrible
I, Claudius.
Histories.
Yeah, I Claudius
I,
and then Horrible
Claudius.
Histories basically as Claudius again.
Yeah, that's like 5.
He's played 2 characters over 4 films.
It's fair. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm just saying, weirdly represented in our coverage.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's a few. I think there's a few others that we could go through. And they're like, wow, this person's like been in a lot of these things. But
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
I have one final question for you guys because Twelfth Night was my first Shakespeare play. I was just curious, what were your guys' first your introduction to the Bard?
Yeah, good question.
I do know mine. Mine was Midsummer Night's Dream. I remember like 8th grade, maybe 8th or 9th grade. I remember reading it in English class, and it was one of those things where we all sat in class and like some people had parts and we would just like read it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I was anybody because I was shy and didn't want to talk, but it was like, what the I was like, what is happening? Why is this happening? But we had a really nice annotated copy that we had in class that had a lot of like, okay, when they're talking about this person, it's like this god in mythology. And I was like, well, I know that. And so some of it was easier to kind of get into. And then we watched the movie, which I actually think they do a really good job in was it 93?
Yeah.
The Midsummer Night's Dream movie. And it's like also kind of like
The
a
90s and early 2000s were a good time for Shakespeare. He fell in love.
Yeah.
He plus Julietted. He got Kenneth Branagh was all over that.
All over that. Yeah.
I think technically Romeo and Juliet, I want to say I read that in like an 8th grade English class, but the first one that really stuck with me was Midsummer Night's Dream as well. And for whatever reason, that is also, I think I want to say I read it in at least 2 different in like K through 12. Also like saw like I think 3 different like productions of it at various points. Like there was a production while I was in college, and then like after college, a friend of mine like did another thing. Like I feel like I've just like that one is very overrepresented in my like absorption of Shakespeare. And I have my blind spots. I have some like very big blind spots when it comes to Shakespeare. Julius Caesar being a really big notable one. But
we read Brutus's Mark Antony's speech. In English class.
Yeah.
My first performance I saw was Titus Andronicus, though.
Wow.
It was like my freshman year at Whitman College, and it was just like with the local theater, like in the amphitheater. We had an outdoor amphitheater, and there's like, we're gonna do Titus Andronicus.
This is the play you pick. Okay.
It was fun. Wow. They did a good job with it.
I think the first one that I saw was Romeo and Juliet, but I was really young, and I only kind of remember it because my parents tell me about it.
Yeah.
It was like they brought me to something like a performance at an art school, and I think they thought that they were going to have to like take me out at like intermission or something, but I was really into it and I wanted to stay for the second half. I barely remember that, so I don't kind of count it. But
yeah. All I know is after having listened to the podcast episode from Shakespeare Anyone, they also say it's like, we're not going to engage in bardolatry. And I'm like, ooh, I like that word. We should use that for Homer. And it's like, it's kind of, I will say, because we've touched on Shakespeare a couple of times with Titus, but also The Empire's Game, because I got so pissed off that they were using Shakespeare's Julius Caesar to talk about Roman history. Emperor's Club. There we go. So like it feels like one of those things that had we been nerds in an alternate timeline, we'd be really into Shakespeare. We'd be doing all these Shakespeare movies.
The Shakespeare nerd is evergreen. I'm seeing it even in my students.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
same. One of my like peer leaders in my class is like super Shakespeare nerd.
It's
like,
an archetype,
it is.
lean into it, but
Oh yeah.
Who's taking us out?
I can do it. Special thanks to all you listeners. We could not produce episodes like this without your support. That being said, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe if you like what you hear. You can find all of our episodes at movieswedig.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more about our upcoming plans and episode releases, be sure to follow us on social media, where you can find us on most platforms under some variation of the handle @movieswedig. Thank you, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye. This podcast is produced by your hosts, Colin McCormick and Christie Vogler. Movies We Dig is part of the Memory Collective, creators and educators dedicated to sharing knowledge that is accessible, contextualized, socially conscious, and inclusive. To learn more about the Memory Collective, be sure to check out the website collectivemem.com.